2024 Smash is coming to a close, and I wanted to go over who I think the top 10 players are for this second half of the year. Looking at the results, I was actually kind of surprised. I thought a lot of players did better than I thought, but they didn't. But either way, I'm going to be going over the top 10, and actually by that, I mean the top 11 because I couldn't make the final decision on 10 or 11. And honestly, this isn't like the groupings that I normally do. I think this is just my straight order, starting with number 11. At number 11, we have Doramigi. I think Doramigi did absolutely fantastic this season. He had literally one major blip on his radar, which was Sumabato SB51, where he got 33rd, losing to Fui and Mairudona, the DK player. But either way, both of those players are probably going to be around the top 50. I mean, Fui definitely is, but overall, obviously not a great performance there, but everything else was absolutely fantastic. 5th at a P tier, 2nd at an A plus tier, 5th at an A tier, 7th. This is only majors, by the way. He also went to several B tiers and did well, but overall I feel like he did just super well. Not as amazing as he could have. Definitely 9th place at the Invitational and Circ 4 back-to-back, which kind of hurts even though these were smaller on the end of the majors. But then again, 2nd at a super major, 3rd at an A plus tier. Like, he obviously had an amazing season with one actual blip on his radar, but the thing is, the players above just have really good seasons overall and even stronger high performances. So that's why I'm going to put Doramigi at number 11. At number 10, we have Asimo. I think Asimo had a hell of a season. Again, unfortunately, 3 blips on his radar, being the 13th place at Sumabato SP 50. You have the 25th at Umabura SP 11, which was the second biggest tournament, I believe, of the season behind Supernova, and then 17th at Ult Core 4th. Again, at these places, he's losing to good players. He's losing to Alice and Navy. Here, he lost to Alice and Shida Yuki. Again, all going to be Lumi rank for sure. And I think this one was the one he lost to Toss the Piranha Plant. Yes, it is. But at the same time, he had 7th place at the beginning tournament of the year in Kowloon number 12, and he got 4th at Supernova, the biggest tournament of the year, and he won and got 2nd at 2 different super majors, beating a lot of amazing players, obviously, including this one with Akola, Akikusu, Snow, Kome, Darikusu. Like, all these players are going to be top 50 for sure. He had a lot of amazing wins this season, only basically losing to the best of the best players or random matchup check, essentially. But I do think that his highs in this case outweigh his lows, considering I think in terms of majors he tied in attendance with Mia and only was beaten out by Raru in terms of the players that I consider top 10 or 15 in this list. So yeah, Asimo did fantastic this season. Again, the 4th place at Supernova was huge for him, as well as of course winning Sumabato SP51, the first major win for Ryu, the first major win for Asimo in general. So I do think he deserves number 10. At number 9, we are going to go with MoistLight. I think overall he had a fantastic season. If you ignore Supernova at the bottom there, Light had just a fantastic season with a 9th at Riptide, only losing to Shattuck and Asimo. He beat Mia multiple times this year, which is going to be very important as we see where Mia is. He won Invitational 3, which again was, I think, the lowest rated major of the year, but then overall had a fantastic performance. 2nd at the Throne 2, beating MKLeo twice, beating Riddles, Hurt, Mutace, and Tilde, only losing to Spargo twice. We have Luminosity makes moves, where again he beat Leo, Wrath, Lima. He lost to Leo here and lost to Sonics in Losers Finals, but had an overall amazing run. Of course, we have 3rd at Circ 4 as well, only losing to Mia and Lima, which again, that's nothing to be ashamed of, but beating Shattuck and Peanut and Doramigi as well, which is again very, very impressive. And of course, winning the Invitational 3, not dropping a set over Peanut, T, Hurt, Cola, Tweak, and Lima twice, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. The reason that I put him a little bit lower than I feel like I was expecting to when I was making this list was because the biggest tournaments he went to, which were Riptide and Supernova, he underperformed at both. I mean, underperformed, he got 9th, which is still a very good placement, but I just think that I want to reward the doing better at the bigger tournaments / going to a bunch of stuff and then having those negatives is like a little bit more okay in my eyes. I don't know what the algorithm is going to say, but that's just my perspective. I think Light had an absolutely he had an amazing season. He was so good, but unfortunately the 2 biggest events he went to, 17th and 9th, are going to be his worst ones of the season. At all of the majors and super majors he went to, he got top 8 at every single one. In fact, he podiumed all of them except for the Luminosity Invitational. But then at the P tiers, the 2 biggest events of the season, at least that he went to, he got 17th and 9th. And again, nothing to be ashamed of, losing to Ken Sonics as well as Asimo and Shattuck, those are perfectly fine names. Like, those are very good players. Shattuck was also in contention for my list, but I think he just didn't make the cut. And he just, like, Light did so good. He only lost to super top players, but I just think the players above him have a little bit better of a resume. And in a return to form, we have MKLeo, in my opinion, at number 8. Again, I want to talk about this versus Light because this was a quite large conversation. Obviously, at Supernova, the biggest event that Leo went to, he got 17th, losing to Asimo and Aola. But again, both of those players in the top 10 in this list for sure. Obviously, Aola is going to be on this list. And then overall had an amazing season. He didn't place outside the podium, or sorry, outside of top 8 a single time. And even though he didn't win a major this year, I do kind of value getting 5th at a P tier, which was at Umebura SP11, over the win of something like the Invitational 3, which again was the lowest rated major of the year. So even though I think Light had an amazing run overall, Leo did really well. I was actually really surprised looking at this. I thought Leo had a couple of worse performances, but no, he only lost to Gluttony here at Region 2024. Like at Umebura SP11, Leo only lost to Hurt and Aola. Hurt was just outside of this list essentially. Him and Shattuck were like the next two I was considering, but he beat Dora Migi, Akio, Alice, Karaage, Marudina, which was the Donkey Kong we talked about earlier, and he just did so well overall. He got 5th at Luminosity Invitational, beating Spargo, beating Gluto, beating Shiny Mark, only losing to Zomba and Cola the entire event. At Luminosity Makes Moves, he lost to Sonics and Light, but he also beat Light here, and again, Sonic's an amazing player. Meister also had a hell of a season, so that's still a good win. And at the Throne 2, he also was the one that beat Spargo into loser's bracket, as well as getting a win on Zachary, as well as getting a win on Mutace, Tilda, and Dryby, only losing to Light and Spargo at this tournament. But I do think the Spargo wins in particular matter. I think that Leo was basically the only player that had a consistent winning record versus Spargo over multiple events. He's the only player to beat Spargo multiple times, I'm pretty sure, because he beat him at the Luminosity Invitational in pools, and then he beat him at the Throne, and then I feel like if he played, like, he just kind of has Spargo's number. Spargo has only beat him once this season, and I think that really matters when you consider the season that Spargo had. So I do think the head-to-heads of Leo put him a little bit ahead of someone like Light, but overall, I mean, if you wanted to swap those two, I wouldn't be surprised. I think just Leo did so well. I think that the 17th at Supernova, not a big deal considering who his losses were, and considering he still beat good players like Luigi and Icy Mist and Ling. I just think he had a really good season, and I'm really proud of him for kind of bouncing back and finding his footing again. And again, this isn't the Leo that we know of, like winning everything or getting top 2 at everything, but either way, this is definitely the correct path, and I definitely expect him to have an amazing season going forward, especially considering he has his new secondaries that he has a lot of confidence in. Number 7, we're sticking with the LG boys, and we're going with Tweak. I was surprised looking at this. I thought Tweak had a better season. Granted, it's still a really good season. He didn't place outside of single digits the entire year, but the 2 P tiers he went to, he did not get top 8 at Supernova 2024, losing to Hurt and Sonics, which again, fine losses, but you know, he didn't make the top 8. He did beat the hell out of Asimo though, which is definitely going to be a Lumi rank, like a good Lumi rank win. And then at Riptide, he also got 9th, losing to Syrup and Zomba, and only really beating Snow here. Maybe Skeleton's gonna sneak on to like the top 50 or like the honorable mentions or something, because he had a fairly good season. As well as that, he didn't make top 8 at the Luminosity Invitational, losing to Gluto, Asimo, and Shiny Mark. So Asimo getting the run back on him, beating Shuon, which is a really good win, especially considering that matchup, and beating Mars, which are good wins overall. But then of course he did really well the rest of the season, right? The beginning was kind of rough, but then 4th at the Invitational 3, only losing to T, Light, and Beast Mode Paul, because Beast Mode Paul's the god. You know, losing here to Spargo and Mia, but beating basically everyone else, including Cola, who was a major winner this year. Of course, the highlight for him was winning Luminosity Makes Big Moves, only losing to Sonics in set 1 of Grand Finals, but beating Jazzo, Shattuck, Wrath, and Sonics twice to win, which is going to be fantastic for him. And then of course 5th at the Throne 2, losing to Hurt and Spargo, and that was it, but beating Zachary, Tilde, Cola, Candle, and Remu. So overall, I feel like he had a really strong season. I thought I was going to put him like around the top 5 area, but I think the 2 biggest events that he went to, he got 9th. And again, it's not like he had a ton of events, right? So if you count his like not top placements, you have 3 9th places at 3 of the 7 majors he went to, and then still 7th, 4th. It's not like he's consistently getting 2nd or 3rd or something, so I wanted to put him a little bit lower. I honestly almost put him under Leo, because Leo at least had a 5th place at a P tier, but I do think that winning a super major is really good. And just outside the top 5 at number 6, we are going to go with Shuon. I think Shuon did really well this season overall. He only placed outside of single digits once, which was at Supernova, which again, unfortunate because that was the biggest tournament of the season, but those losses were to Raru and Mia, two players I haven't mentioned yet, and we're getting into the top 5, which I think is totally fine there. And of course, did beat Wrath here, which is going to be a good win. Of course, he won a major in Delta 8.5, beating Ken twice, beating Reno, beating Uame, as well as Matara, who might sneak onto that list. I'm not 100% sure, but still overall had a good season. Peak of that, in my opinion, wasn't the win of the major. It was the second at Riptide 2024, double eliminating Sonics, only losing to Spargo, beating Beast Mode Paul, Zomba, Quid, Apple Reviewer. He just did so well at that tournament. And yes, the other P tier he went to was in 9th place here, but again, he lost to Snow and Doramigi. Snow, again, barely outside of this list, and he still had some good wins here in terms of Goryoka, Shirayuki, and Taikei, which is still very good, even though it isn't a top 8 finish. Of course, he still did well at the Luminosity Invitational, Delta, and Don't Park on the Grass, as well as getting another win on Sonics at Coinbox IRL, but I'm only showing majors on this page. Like if you go into B tiers, like he went to a couple of more things and got a couple of extra wins, like here at Sirius over Ken twice and Gachi P and Fui. But again, I'm mostly considering majors here because the other ones are kind of like padding resumes more so than creating. Getting 5th at Don't Park on the Grass to beating Monty and Snow is still good, only losing to Spargo and Louis Money. But again, the 4th place here as well at Delta number 9 is going to be good because again, wins on Toriguri, Motsunabe, Ken, Fui, only losing to Tamapi Daifuku, who unfortunately had a couple of bad placements this year, so I didn't consider him for the top 10. And again, Raru, who's really good, and again, higher on this list. So I think overall, Shuton had a very solid season. I feel like he, even in his bad placements, only lost. His worst loss is literally to Sin's Ice Climbers, and Sin might sneak on to the top 50 anyway, but here it was Raru Mia, and then here it was Spargo twice, and then here it was Snow and Doramigi, and here it was Luis and Spargo. So like he lost to basically really good players overall consistently. Just some of them were unfortunate brackets for him, so that's the 17th place, but I do think that overall he had a good enough season to be up here. Now we're getting into the top 5, and number 5, we are going to have definitely, in my opinion, the rising star of the season, who we all knew was good, but he had a crazy season and was the person that attended the most majors of anyone in consideration for this list, and that is going to be the Luigi main, Raru. If you compare it to the second highest person, which was Asimo, he had one more major than him, and not only that, but overall, he did ridiculously well. He had 2 placements outside of single digits, outside of top, no, there was a 9th place, so 2 outside of single digits, which unfortunately were, one of them was a P tier at Kowloon number 12. Here he lost to Toda, Samus, who I feel like if they attended more, maybe they would be top 50, but I'm not sure if they will. And then Ryuo, who's definitely going to be top 50 this season, so not terrible losses, and still beat someone like Paseriman and Lunamato, the Mii Brawler and Mii Sword Fighter players, so he's still going to be like fine in this case. And then of course, unfortunately, another 17th place at the very end, losing to Taikei and Darikusu, but again, both those players probably going to be top 50, and he beat Tosses Piranha Plant, let's go. But obviously the highs for Raru this season were absolutely fantastic. First off, 5th place, getting winner semifinals of Supernova was really good, beating amazing players as well, Apollo Kage, Cola, Shuton, and Snow, only losing to Shattuck and Sonics, so again, good losses, really good placement here. Then we had the 1st place, he won a super major, won a major here, he did win a super major, I'm pretty sure later this season, yeah, so I'm not getting super confused, and here he beat Masa, Lax, Doramigi, Hurt, he actually beat Doramigi twice, only losing to Doramigi in Grand Final Set 1, so a lot of amazing wins there, and of course winning a major. He got 2nd at another major, 9th at a P tier, which again is a little unfortunate, but again he's losing to really strong players in Snow and Akaki Kusu, who both had really good seasons. And then of course 7th place at a super major, only losing to Ryuo and Meister. 3rd place at a super major, only losing to Akula and Ashimo, which again 2 players on this list. Delta number 9, he got 2nd, only losing to Mia after getting upset really early by Ocha. This is one of the longest losers runs of the entire year, beating Leia, Paseriman, Kebanga, Gluto, Ike, Fui, Lunamato, Yamanakshin, Tamapi Daifuku, Shuton, and Ryope. So a lot of amazing wins, only losing to Mia at the end, and that kind of just shows the resilience of this guy. Again, he did well basically every time traveling overseas, getting 5th at Don't Park on the Grass as well, only losing to Mia and Ken, 2 very strong players, and then again winning another S tier here over the likes of Reno, Shirayuki, Snow, Hurt, Yoshidora, and Doramigi, who got upset a little bit earlier in that bracket. So again, yeah, he got 17th and 25th at 2 tournaments, but also he went to more majors than literally everyone, and I'm going to be okay with people attending more and then doing worse at some of them, because if you kind of just like have 4 good tournaments and then stop going to everything, everything, I think that is overall a worse resume than someone that keeps trying, but overall still does very well. Except for the next person we're going to talk about, which is literally exactly the thing I just said, but that's because they're really good, and we're talking about Sonics. Sonics went to 4 tournaments this season. I thought he went to more. I was going to put him in number 3, but he actually just didn't go to that much. And unfortunately, one of those 4 was a 13th place where he only beat one person in Cola, which is ironic because Cola ended up winning the entire event, but he lost to Light, Shiny Mark, and Spargo here. Again, his other 3 were really good, right? Second at a P tier, third in a P tier, and second in an S tier. Those are very good results, but I just think that if you don't go to that much and you only go to 3 tournaments and you never travel overseas, especially considering there's a lot of Japanese players traveling overseas, so they're having good results in both sides, then it kind of weakens your resume just a little bit. Of course, his tournaments are fantastic, right? He lost here to Snow after beating Jazo, and then went on a crazy losers run. This is why half of the players that I've mentioned had bad supernovas, because he beat Light, Mia, Tweak, Aola, Raru, Asimo, Shattuck, and only lost to Spargo in grand finals, which is ridiculous. He got 3rd at Riptide, only losing to Shuon twice, and again, beat really strong players like Wilds, Riddles, Snow, Shattuck, Syrup, and Riddles again. So he had a really good season, in terms of tournament. And again, at Luminosity Makes Moves, he had a very strong tournament. He beat Base Mage, Mutace, Lima, Leo, lost to Tweak in winners finals, then beat Light, beat Tweak in set 1, but then only lost to Tweak in the finals. So overall, he had a fantastic season. His weirdest loss was to Snow, who's really, really good. But at the same time, I just think if you only go to 4 tournaments and one of them is a 13th place, and even though it's an invitational, so it's going to count less, I just think that your attendance was so low that I can't give you higher than this, even though realistically, I would say you're the 3rd most skilled player in the world right now, at the very least. But overall, I just think that having less results and not having a win, unfortunately, puts you at the number 4 under the number 3 player, who I thought was going to be the number 4 player. We're going with Aola. I thought Aola went to less this season. I thought he was going to have the amount of tournaments that Sonics had, and Sonics was going to have the amount of tournaments that Aola had. I think if we include B tiers, Sonics went to at least one more thing. But yeah, again, that was a 5th place at an invitational, losing to Shuon and Onin. He didn't even beat me there because we didn't play. But then Aola went to 6 tournaments, 6 premieres and otherwise, and he didn't place outside of top 8 at a single one because Aola is overall the most consistent player in the world still. He got 2nd at Kowloon number 12, only losing to Mia twice in winners finals and grand finals, but again, beating Spargo here for the first time, beating Mia, as well as beating Dora, Migi, Zachary, Gak, Tsubaki, and other players as well. Of course, at Supernova, he got 7th, losing to Yoshidora and Sonics, but still beat Mars, Dabuz, Leo, and as well as some potentially top 50 players like Jackal. He got 2nd in Umabura SP11, losing to only Mia and Snow, which again, that's fine because he also beat Snow in the run back. He beat Mia in grand final set 1, as well as beating Leo and Zachary and Daki, who ended up winning a major this season. So again, very strong tournament. 2nd place again, only losing to Asimo and Akakikusu, but beating Meister, Jogibu, Ryuo, Yoshidora, Meister, and Akakikusu in the run back. So he had, he beat the person that beat him. He got 1st at Umabura SP52. He didn't drop a set. He only went to game 5 twice against Yonepi, which is crazy because that's Pichu, and Raru, who again is top 5 in my opinion this season, as well as beating Kept, Jogibu, Asimo, and Rocky. So he did really well in that tournament. And of course, 4th at Alt Core 4th, which was very weird to say. He lost to Yoshidora and Dora Migi here. And I thought this was going to really hurt his chances at, being super high on this list, but I didn't realize how good of a season he had overall. And again, here, he still beat Nyon, KNB, Darikusu, Jogibu, Alice, and Hurt. So again, he's only losing to the best of the best players. I think that technically the worst player he lost to was Akakikusu or Yoshidora, which those are both good players, obviously, because like Snow was in the contention for top 10. Yeah, Akakikusu there. Yeah, like his worst loss was to Akakikusu or Yoshidora, which again are amazing players overall and no one to be sad about losing to. So yeah, his head-to-heads were still good. He beat Spargo the only time they played this season, and yeah, I think that puts him at number 3. And I don't think anyone is surprised at the top 2. At number 2, we are going to have Mia. He's been 2nd to so many seasons in a row. I feel like he had an overall fantastic season with more first places, I believe, than anyone else at majors this year. With more first places than anyone this season, he went to so much, and of course Mia is absolutely fantastic. 1st at Kowloon number 12 with Kagedibi, beating a lot of amazing players, only losing to Aola in Grand Set 1, but beating Aola twice, level 1 Masa Snow, which is going to be obviously really good. 30th at Supernova, which is unfortunate, but again, he lost to Mars, which that matchup's impossible, and Sonics, because Sonics had the crazy losers run, and still beat Shuon, Beast Mode, Paul, Soar, and Atreus. Atreus might actually sneak on there. He won his first major of the season. Nope, sorry, he already won Kowloon number 12, my bad. he won his first major because this other one was the premier, just only losing to Rauru in set 1, which is actually kind of crazy that Rauru was able to take a set, but still beating Rauru twice, Asimo, Meister, Carmelo, Yone P, so very strong there. 13th at Riptide, which isn't great. Again, I'm not going to deny that, but again, his losses were to Syrup and Light. Syrup, honestly going to be very high ranked in my opinion this season, and Light was on this list and still beat players like Jazo and Omega, but again, even though he has some negatives, I mean 2 outside of a single digit placements, he won more than anyone else. He won another PT here at Umabura SP11, again, only losing to Aola in Grand Set 1, but beating Aola in Grand Set 2, beating Snow, Hurt, Doramigi, Akikikusu, Shion's hero, Wines, Zelda, like he's just been doing overall so well. 5th at the Levitational, beating Spargo here, which is I believe the first time he's beat Spargo in a long time, as still beating Hurt, Kaninabe, Doramigi, Luis, only losing to Lima and Tweak, which are not bad losses at all. First at Cirque 4, losing to Lima in Grand Set 1, but still beating Lima, Light, T, Tweak, Beast Mode Paul. All those players are definitely going to be ranked first at Delta number 9 Super Major, beating Noe, Yamanashi, Motsunabe, Tamapi Daifuku, Ryope, Daru. He just did crazy, right? Again, another small blip here at Luminosity Makes Moves Miami, losing to Light, but still beating Zomba, Raflo, and Chunky Kong. And again, his losses aren't bad, right? Wrath had a really good season, Light had a really good season, so those aren't bad losses. And then second at Don't Park on the Grass, losing to Spargo twice in winners and grand finals, but still beat Spargo in set 1, beat Louis Money, beat Rauru, beat MFA, and again, if we include B tiers, he even went to more events. And by more events, I mean literally one more event, but he won that event, which was at LACS Rivals, beating Shattuck, Tweak, and Gluto twice, losing to Gluto in grand set 1. So again, this season is ridiculous. This is so good. Obviously, I'm not going to say so consistent because he did have those worst placements, but again, he went to tied for the most majors this year, sorry, the second most majors this year. He tied with Asimo, was one less than Rauru, so I'm going to give him his flowers. If you go to that many, yeah, you're going to have some bad performances, and he had more good performances than literally anyone in the world, including our number 1 player, who I think was number 1, honestly, by looking at this, by a long shot. I don't think it was close. Number 1, Spargo. Spargo had the second most wins of this season, but at the same time, his worst placement was a single 9th at the Litvitational, which again is in my opinion, or not in my opinion, I believe it was the lowest rated major of the entire year. And here, he still only lost to T and Mia, which are very good players. And then otherwise, he got top 4 at literally everything. He had 1 9th place and then 4th or better at everything. 3rd at Kowloon with Kagedibi, only losing to Doramigi and Aola, beating level 1 Doramigi, Ashimo, Masa, Alice. He won Supernova, not even dropping a set, over players like Loaf, Syrup, Ken, Mars, Hurt, Shattuck, and Sonics. He won Riptide, beating Shutone twice, Syrup, Ashimo, Mutace, and Chase. He got second at the Luminosity Invitational, only losing to Cola in the main bracket. Of course, he did lose to Leo and Zomba in pools, but in pools he beat Zap, and then he beat in loser. He started in loser's bracket. Sonics, Meister, Light, Ashimo, Zomba, and Shutone. And Cola in set 1 before losing to Cola in set 2, game 5. Again, 9th of the Levitational, which I already covered, but then 4th at Cirque 4, losing to T and Lima, which, you know, I think those are both fine losses. I think Lima had a really good season. I think T had definitely a return to form this season, and he still beat players like Goblin, Doramigi, Tweak, and Shattuck, which isn't bad. He won the throne too. In pools, he did lose to Zachary, and he lost to Leo in winter semis, but overall, he beat Dryby, Mars, Rimu, Tweak, Candle, Hurt, Leo, and Light twice to win the tournament. And for the final major that he went to Dome Park on the Grass, and again won. He lost to Mia in set 1, but beat him twice, beat Shutone, beat Ken, beat MVD. So again, I think overall he had a fantastic season. If you include B tiers, I believe he went to several more. Yeah, he got first at Posada Gamer 2024, not losing to anyone. He got 4th at LACS Rivals, losing to Gluto and Light, but hey, Gluto finally had to beat him, right? And then where's the other B tier? I think he went to one more. Yeah, PSK Showdown here. And again, he did lose to Alandis in winter semis, but ended up winning the tournament overall. So the B tiers he did well, the majors he did fantastic, and I think it's not even close. I think that he clearly was the best player. I think he clearly just did the best overall. He only lost to the best of the best players, and he won just as much, essentially, as everyone else, and he won the biggest tournament of the season, the 2 of the 4 biggest tournaments of the season, and the other person to win was Mia, but then overall he beat Mia more than vice versa, and he was able to just overcome the odds and become the number 1 player in the world, and I am so proud of him. I know Spargo has had several heartbreaks, being second on the rankings and getting really upset with that, and it's funny that after he had his worst season, he was I think ranked 9th or 8th or something like that, he is able to come back and get first. I feel like once, it's so interesting, when you are so close, every little thing makes you super anxious and then you perform worse, whereas Spargo was like, I got 9th, it's fine. fine, whatever. Like, he knows he had a bad season at the beginning, right? But then was able to just be like, hey, I had a bad season, time to just not care, I'm not that close, let me just play my game. And then playing his game is winning majors. So yeah, congrats to Spargo. I'm actually going to be playing him on stream today because he wants some brawler practice, so you can look out for that down in the stream. It'll be around 6 p.m. Eastern. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you thought of this list. Let me know who you think I should have included, because I think this one's probably my best one overall. I didn't forget someone, because normally I like upload the video and then go, oh no, I forgot this player, but I don't think I forgot any players here. So let me know down in the comments who you think I forgot. Subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. And as always, social media and partner stuff is down below, and I will see you all next time. Peace.